How are we doing on that?
22 minutes.
2 minutes left?
22 minutes.
22 minutes in? So, at this point, let's see what else I had. Let's look at health, okay? Because that's another area. It's kind of like the education, where right now they have this federal money that the state is not taking in. It's our tax dollars that they took away. We want it back. We can do it once again, just like I talked about the education. We can have our own system. I have been to a presentation by a doctor out of Florida, and he has a great free enterprise solution to this. He has a health club membership. People pay him less than an insurance payment, and they can go to him up to 32 times a year. No one wants to see their doctor that much. So you can go there. He gives regular seminars on preventative health and everything like that to the membership to come in and listen to. He makes more money than he does from the insurance company. He doesn't have the forms to fill out. The people get better care. He ensures that everyone has to kind of understand. If you're in a regular checkup and there's an emergency, he's going to step to the emergency and then come back to you. That's the one little thing. So he takes care of emergencies and a priority. You don't have to go to emergency room. You can come to him. He has special arrangements for x-rays and all sorts of other outside services at a fraction of the normal cost, at less than what your deductibles would be for those same services. So the net cost to the consumer is less. The doctor makes more money. Well, how can you do this? Well, look at all the middlemen, okay? Major insurance companies, they make a profit. Do you know how many employees they have and they have to pay and everything? Now you have the major health corporations buying up all the small practices. You have the same thing there. So would you rather have a direct relationship? Now you could still choose the insurance in the regular traditional ways, or you could choose an a la carte plan. You could also choose to enter into a co-op. Colorado has health co-op programs. So I would have it that you would have multiple choices, not just the insurance cost choice. And that way you get better service, more choices, and make it more of a free enterprise system. Really, the whole Affordable Health Care Act is another crony capitalism movement. It's ensuring that insurance companies, their policies. It's making it you have to have an insurance policy. That means the insurance companies really didn't fight it too much. No, they didn't. They were benefiting. It's going to increase their revenues and everything like that. So we need to have it where the final layer of healthcare that we can get rid of cost is there's huge insurance policies on doctors and facilities for the insurance that they have to pay. So the malpractice insurance. This can be sometimes 30 or 40% of their total cost can just be this insurance. We should be like Minnesota and other leading states where it's a 1/3 of the rate of Georgia. And we can do that with the right rules and regulations that inhibit the attorneys from commanding such fees and bringing forth cases that they shouldn't. So we need to do that. Right now, 50% or more, depending on the locality and state and everything, of our elected representatives are attorneys. They represent 1% or less of the population. They don't have to pay money for special interest deals. They are their own special interest deals. So we need to make sure that, it's a good profession when it's done right. It's a needed profession, okay? So I'm not here to slam attorneys or anything like that, but we just have to get it where they're doing the right job at the right level, and they're not writing all the laws. And our laws need to be written like our U.S. Constitution, where a person can sit down and read the law. They fill it with such boilerplate, twist the language to where you're having to go back and forth between paragraphs and subparagraphs and everything to even try to figure out what it is. And in there, they put in a lot of different deals for themselves as well as the special interest groups that have paid so much to get their people elected. So, freedom and fairness. When I just look at other areas, that's what I'll be applying. I'll look at what's fair, what's right, what's just, and then what maximizes our liberties. What enables people to grow and prosper without the limitations of the government putting too much on them. So freedom and fairness is my overall writing platform that I'm taking forward. And when I look at different things, that's what I do. I put on my freedom and fairness glasses and decide what would be the best way to do it, and encourage other people to have a conversation and give it. I reach out to the experts in the area to form those opinions. Okay? Now, from a campaign point of view, this is a grassroots effort. Brat beat Cantor in Virginia. Cantor is number 2 in the GOP in the House, okay? This guy was just a college professor, not a politician ever in his life, non-career guy, came in and beat him with 3% of the money. Cantor spent more just on steakhouses than Brat spent on his whole campaign. So this is doable. One of the reasons I decided to run for office is because I looked at the survey. 53% in that survey, that was last year, of the Americans are against both parties now. Okay? When I talk to people, I see the number more at 70 or 80% that are done with it. They're tired of the system. The voting's going down and down and down because they don't want to vote for the lesser of two evils. So we just have to let people know that there's a good choice. Someone who really wants to address the needs and the wants of the people and spread that message out to people. I'm here to represent all of the people and do public service. I need you all to help make this real. We, the people, can win government back, but it has to be we, the people. I can't do it. When I'm in office, I will need you all's public opinions and voices back saying, yes, what he's doing is what we want. And I'll have you reach out to your representatives and senators to do that. And then we can get these things through that we want to and move things in the right direction. I'd say it's a 20-year process to get to where we really want to get, but that 20-year process doesn't start till we get the first Libertarian into a major office. Otherwise, every election cycle, it slips out another 20 years, another 20 years. So we want to do this, we want to do it practically, we want to get everyone else comfortable with the Libertarian platform, and then move it forward. Okay? So, Facebook. Who here doesn't go onto Facebook? This guy's controversial. Watch out for him. Okay, so who here has actually liked my public page so far? So, you know, we're not doing very well there, folks, okay? So we need to do that. Not only that, that's the first step. The second step, and it's an easy step. Both of these steps are really easy. This just takes a few minutes time. You don't have to talk to anyone, okay? So you don't have to worry about uncomfortable conversations or anything like that. Then, after you've liked my page, there's something that'll kind of be available on the left-hand stream of the page that you can invite your friends to like my page, okay? And you just go through and you click invite, okay? Now, a lot of people miss their news feeds and these invites. So after a week or two, you do it again. And the people that already liked the page won't show up again. It's only the people that haven't liked it yet. So you don't have to worry about being annoying to someone that's already liked it, okay? And you just do that over a few weeks until, you know, you finally, okay, there's a few stubborn people, I won't bother with them. But you'll be amazed how many people will like it. And that's how easy it is to spread the word, okay? Other people, we have these push cards, okay? Or that's what they call them in campaign language, okay? So I call them campaign cards. And so they have a little bit of information on the front and back, and they're really easy to hand out to people, you know? You say, you know, one of the things for a voter pickup line is you can go up to someone that you don't know and say, well, how do you feel about government? You pleased with it or displeased? 80% of the people will 30% of people start getting red in the eye because they're so furious at it. Another 50% will be, yeah, we can do a lot better. And you say, I think so too. And that's why I'm supporting Andrew Hunt for governor. Okay? And, that's as easy as it is. And then you can sometimes have a longer conversation with them. And then there's people that don't go on the internet much. So we have a special thing that I've learned about from other campaigns. This is actually a postcard. So you can go to people that don't do much on the internet, and they say, well, I like this guy that you talked about. What can I do? Well, you give them some of these, and they can just write the address on there, and it says right on there that please vote for Andrew Hunt for governor. So that's already written on their form. They don't even have to bother with that. It's a recommendation, a personal recommendation. 8 times more effective than a whole bunch of TV ads and mailers is one person talking to another person. It's more convincing than these ads, which, how many people believe the ads? See, if another person tells you, would you consider it then? Is that something that you could believe? It's real simple. So, these are some of the basic things that we need to do, the blocking and tackling to make it real. And I'm hopeful that a lot of you will join in. The more you can do, the better. You need more campaign materials, cards, whatever. We'll get them to you. Okay? Gladly get those to you. Okay. Now we'll open it up to questions. Is that long enough?
Sounds good. Right now it is, thank you so much, Dr. Hunt. Right now it's 10 after 8. I'll open it up and just pass the mic around to anyone that raises their hand and wants to ask a question of Dr. Hunt. At 9 o'clock, I'm going to cut everything off, but that doesn't mean that the questioning has to end. If you want to stick around a little longer and talk personally with Dr. Hunt at all, feel welcome to. It's just the mics and everything are going to go off at 9 o'clock, okay? So if we do last that long, I'll give about a 10 or a 5-minute warning. We're almost wrapping up, so you will know. Who wants to start?
Or you're just going to sit?
I suppose we need to introduce ourselves and tell a little bit about ourselves and ask questions. I'm Adam Peterson, Navy veteran, aerospace graduate from Middle Tennessee State, and single parent. My question is, what are you doing for bioremediation tactics here locally? And also, are the street development teams using any type of permeable concrete strategies with nutrient management plans for the roadway developments with the PEs? And have another couple of questions for education as well. Any permaculture classes for high schools? Any gardens at universities? Stuff like that. And using city development to engage in renewables. What else? Yeah, I thought there's some really cool things here in Atlanta. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very thankful that I'm seeing wonderful things happening in the city and people doing really good things with the urban forestry efforts. I'd like to see more strategies for marketing things like red mulberries into food production and establishing native edibles instead of more genetically modified foods. So, because obviously that's what's killing our bees instead of the bee and butterfly guilds. So,
Okay. Well,
thank you.
Thanks for being here. And good initial topic. So permeable surfaces. I don't believe that the city and state is using permeable pavement solutions right now. I know at a house that I had, I put in some permeable surface. And I also like the kind of grass pavers where you can have grass growing up and you can still drive across the grass and everything. So those are nice things to have, but you also have to be practical. So you can do that in some areas and you can't in others. You can have runoff systems where you channel the water from the storm drain back in underneath the roadways, and then it can permeate that down and through, and still have a highly drivable top surface. There's a number of ways you can do it. You just have to look at the cost and the cost benefit of how you do these different things. You don't want to have huge, expensive programs, these things. But so that's not as important as the traffic and the issues and the air pollution that's created because of traffic too. So that really directly affects us. The quality of the air. I think from a Liberty point of view, we have to ensure that we have good quality water and good quality air, because that affects all of us. We end up drinking that water, we end up breathing that air. So we need to look at how we can run systems where we reduce air pollution without excessive regulation. Be realistic and practical about things. And so we can accomplish that. And I think reducing traffic is the number one way. Number two way is reduce the length of commute for people. So if you have excellent in-town city schools, guess what? Less urban flight. Less need for the big interstates and everything out there. Urban gardens, I actually knew someone that worked for my company, great guy, Craig Durkin, and he would go around and just plant fruit trees and other things in abandoned lots. That was his hobby. That's what he did. It's just a great thing for someone to do. But that's self-initiative, and people doing it, and that's what we need. We need more people like that say, this is something I want to do, and they do it. They don't wait and expect government regulation and government ways to do things. People need to believe in different things, and they need to see those efforts forward, okay? And not depend on government. When we depend on government, things are going to go wrong. You're going to put a lot of money into something, and it's going to go to special interests and other things and not get done right, not get completed right. When people that care go after and do things, then they're done right. So they'll see to it. They'll make sure that those trees are taken care of over the years. So then what Craig does is he turns around and has a volunteer group where they go around and pick all this fruit and everything and give it to shelters. Give it to food banks and everything like that. So they first plant it on abandoned land, grow trees, get the fruit, and give it to that. That's great. It's so, wonderful type of activity. So I answered some of your questions kind of remotely, touching on how I would look at things. So I don't believe in a lot of government control and regulation, and I think it's great when people take up initiative and do things, and I would inspire people to do that as a governor. So I would look at that and I would give accolades. I have an accolade page or something where I look at these people doing these different things. So.
And permaculture in high school?
Well, I think like our farmers market move, there's been a big increase in farmers market locally grown, locally supported. So we know those products when we go to the farmers market are not as cheap as the grocery store, but people are flocking to them and buying them, so they're financially supporting the local in-town growth and the organic making. GMO, you can look at it from a point of view that you could have a label that people have to say that something is GMO free. Basically, almost all the wheat and all the corn is GMO already. So there's very few products in the U.S. that don't contain GMOs. And so the companies that want to say that they are GMO free should have that on their products and should label it, And otherwise, basically every product should have GMO content, and it's almost ridiculous. So you have to look at what's easiest to do, most practical. And I think a lot of people will choose to buy the GMO-free products, so they just have to be aware of that and then do it. And other people don't care, and that's liberty. That's liberty.
If the bees and the butterflies are all dying off because of the GMOs, then why can't we have the GMOs label instead of the non-GMOs label? Instead of the organics actually having to do extra work to do their job, which is harder to do the organic work, but it's easier to just put that, that label on there if you're going to do GMO.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to others. We'll come back to you later on. We have a number of other people wanting questions, so I answered quite a bit of your stuff.
Thank you.
And then maybe we'll get back to it again, okay? So I'm not saying that's the end of it, but just getting a variety out here.
Okay, so if I recall correctly, you said the tax that you want to target is taxes on employers hiring employees. Can you tell me more about these taxes? Because the only one that I know of off the top of my head is Social Security taxes, which as governor you wouldn't be able to eliminate. So what other taxes are there that you're talking about, or am I somehow wrong that you could eliminate the Social Security taxes?
So there's state and federal unemployment tax. There's Medicare, there's FICA. Okay, those are the main ones, okay? And so what I would actually do from a state perspective, I can't eliminate the federal. The federal would still get their money, but I would rebate back to the companies what they had to pay to the federal government for those payroll taxes. This would take about 4 years to implement in because it's a big number. It's like $3 or $4 billion, okay? Now, the other thing is this would only be for jobs paying more than $11 an hour, because I don't want to incentivize jobs that require social welfare into the job. So I'm not going to regulate what the minimum wage is, but I'm going to incentivize by having these only apply to those type of jobs. Have to be full-time employees too. I don't want part-time employees getting this. I want to create quality jobs, quality work, with this type of incentive. Nice thing is you look at the high wage earners, guess what? A lot of these taxes fade out at $125,000 to $150,000. You're not incentivizing, really, big paying jobs, but the companies will want to be here because most of their employees, so you're hitting a nice big swath of the type of jobs that we really want, and that will help so many people in Georgia have quality lives. Without the government choosing winners or losers, not deciding this industry or that industry, not saying that, this size company or that size company. In the small towns that are shrinking in Georgia get no incentives. This would get incentives back into those towns, in the neighborhoods that need to create small businesses. We have neighborhoods that are just defunct of jobs and employment, and we want local jobs to those neighborhoods also. Government does not make the choice. Just puts out a good system.
Who's next? Go.
I was hoping to hear more about your ideas for traffic. I like the appeal to fairness a lot, and if there's a way to take away some of the subsidies to the movie industry, I think you'd actually improve traffic around where I live. There's a movie shoot like every week. But yeah, like Georgia voted down the T-Splosh. We don't want to spend more money to make more roads. So I gather from what you're saying, you want to incentivize some of these new mobile apps to improve traffic, private companies. Just wanted to see if you could touch on MARTA and any other larger infrastructure projects.
Well, one thing that we need some public transportation because some people can't afford cars and everything like that, and they're a very important part of our system and process. Okay, but we want to, if we can, we need to look at how can we be more effective at doing it. So, there we go. Okay. So we need to have them be cost-effective mass transit, and we need to look at how that's done. But I think the most important thing is just the overall traffic, and that is trying to get it from the DOT and into private industry to do this. We've just seen, like with Obamacare and its, web debacles, government is not good at these type of things, and private industry is excellent at it and do it more cost-effectively. So we will come out way ahead on traffic. The net cost, we're going to have a reduction in cost to people because they're actually going to save gas, with this. You burn a lot of gas when you're sitting in heavy traffic. So it's just like one of those no-brainer things. Give great education to everyone. That's a no-brainer. Reduce traffic, with these systems that are effective, and get government out of the way of private companies being able to control the traffic. There's some things that are just such bright no-brainers that you just have to do. Did that answer your question?